The fourth important aspect is related to transportational effects. Particles are transported by winds through suspension, saltation and creeping along the ground. Small particles may be held in the atmosphere in suspension. Upward currents of air support the weight of the suspended particles and hold them indefinitely in the surrounding air. Typical winds near Earth's surface suspend particles of less than 0.2 millimeters in diameter and scatter them aloft as dust or haze. Aeolian sediment transport happens in the following three ways. One is the suspension, the second one is the saltation, and the third one is the creep. Suspension is a process in which the air suspends particles less than 0.2 millimeter in diameter. This dust is carried thousands of meters upward and thousands of kilometers downwind, held in suspension by turbulent eddies. Saltation is the transport of sand grains in long trajectories as the momentum is passed from grain to grain. Most of the transport of dune sands happens through saltation. At high wind speeds, saltation is more or less continuous. Saltation is the downward movement of particles in a series of jumps or skips. Saltation normally lifts sand sized particles not more than 1 centimeter above the ground and proceeds at 1/2 to 1/3 speed of the wind. A saltating grain may hit other grains that jump up to continue the saltation. The grain may also hit larger grains that are too heavy to hop, but that slowly creep forward as they are pushed by saltating grains. Surface creep accounts for as much as 25% of grain movement in a desert. Creep is a movement of coarse sand and pebbles as they slide and roll, impacting one another and transferring the momentum. It usually does not occur with velocities less than 4.5 meters per second. Air over deserts is cooled significantly when rain passes through it. This cooler and denser air sinks towards this desert surface. When it reaches the ground, the air is deflected forward and sweeps up surface debris in its turbulence as a dust storm. At wind velocities of up to 6.5 meters per second, dust and fine sands of 0.25 millimeters diameter are carried away. At 10 meters per second, the wind can lift and transport particles of 1 millimeter in diameter. At 20 meters per second speed, particles of 4 to 5 millimeters diameter are transported by the wind. Hurricanes can carry even small stones from one place to the other and hit the houses, buildings and other structures very effectively. These are all the features which we are seeing in the news regularly. The dust of African deserts is transported by strong trade winds over distances of 2000 kilometers to 2500 kilometers. Sometimes the dust and particles may obscure the sunlight also in these regions.